Perhaps I can just refer some of the column by Boris Johnson, the former Foreign Secretary, in today's Daily Telegraph. It's headlined, "The Irish Backstop." I know he doesn't write the headlines, but "The Irish Backstop is a monstrosity that wipes out our sovereignty." Discuss.
Oh, the Irish backstop, as proposed by the EU, that there should be a border down the Irish Sea, it is completely impossible for any UK government to accept. It is fundamental that the United Kingdom is an entity. It is a single entity, and it can't be treated differently at the whim of the European Union. So that's absolutely right.
It's a constitutional abomination.
I agree with that.
If Chequers were adopted, it would mean for the first time since 1066 our leaders were deliberately acquiescing in foreign rule.
I think we could argue over the date of 1066 because there's King John paying homage to the King of France, which is a little bit later, but the broad point's absolutely right, that the EU would make our laws without our having any say in it. So Chequers is a very bad plan. It is the vassal state in chains, and I think it must be rejected. And the Prime Minister's argument on the radio this morning that it was either her plan or leaving on WTO terms, in which case WTO terms would be much better. But actually, the only reason we've got the Chequers plan is that she didn't put forward a better one. It's not this simple either-or case.
You detect a chain of tack by the Prime Minister, Mr. Rees-Mogg?
No, I detect a change of tack by the EU on the Irish border.
I see.
And that, I think, is welcome, and that's what the Times and the FT are reporting. But the backstop as proposed by the EU so far, formally, is exactly as Boris Johnson says.
And just lastly, and the answer to this is ask him, but do you imagine Boris Johnson will welcome what we're hearing on the front page of the Times as perhaps this change of mood from the EU?
Well, I think if the EU is moving towards the ERG's proposal, Boris would be likely to welcome it.
Yes. You didn't all look very happy in that picture, did you, in the papers? I think you've got studying some papers, Boris has got his head in his hands, and Peter Bone is crying. Well, he's not crying, but he looks rather woeful.
I admire the ability of the photographer. If you hang around for long enough, you can always find one of those perfect photographs. I have a habit of fiddling with my spectacles too much, so it's easy to get me in that.
So it wasn't doom and gloom?
No. It was a very upbeat presentation.
All right.